The first 3 minutes or so of this episode was without it some of the most unnerving atmosphere I think we've ever had, with just this neighbor coming over to leave stew for Zen, and just the ominous vibes from the crows, to hearing how many cats have disappeared, to just the blood on his hands, to then the end of the episode after the credits, seeing him walk up in a dark alley with some weird tool and a cat seemingly about to be captured before the high school students saved this little kitty's life. I am hoping that it's going to be a bait and switch, not because of necessarily for plot reasons, but just animal reasons. I'm really hoping that nothing bad is happening to cats willingly, just because that shit disturbs me a lot. But if they commit to it, I mean, they have the formula to make it a success, even if it does, eat away at my soul. But this episode revealed quite a lot. I mean, first and foremost, something I think has been a pretty even split from what I've seen anyway with this anime. How many times did Miko have left for these spirits to save her? Because depending on how you looked at it, one could mean the first time, or one could mean how many times she has left, given that the first time the spirit saved her at the shrine, that could very well be the first time. But as we see, this first one almost felt like it could be free, or was for Hana herself. And it seems like she now has one left after the end of the episode, which honestly felt like cheating. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad it happened because it was badass and frightening, but Miko is finally coming to realize that maybe she can't just wait around and hope things get better, because she learns in this episode that Hana's eating isn't just a random thing that happens, it's her literally almost warding off spirits, and her life energy is being eaten away. It was 2 or 3 weeks back, I remember talking with a couple of people in the comments about, can Miko see Hana's energy? And I just kind of assumed she could, given she can see full-on spirits, but apparently not. So there's a difference between Yulia and her, where Yulia can see the aura of things, where Miko can see the full-on, what they are. So it's interesting. So you can see a reason for them to actually work together, or at the very least, reveal their secrets, because it's not like they can see the exact same thing, which probably explains why there has been so much confusion. But it's quite scary to see that, the closer she's getting to realizing that maybe she needs to start acknowledging things, and maybe there's more she needs to do, a normal looking kid turns into that. And I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna be more paranoid than ever, because now she can't even look at what seems to be a normal person, because what if that is also a spirit in disguise? And we've known that there's definitely good and bad, and probably a majority aren't actually these evil things that need to be disposed of, but there definitely are those that are trying to hurt other people. And once you acknowledge them, who knows what can happen. We have 2 episodes left to go, 1 more save left. And seriously, the fact that a little kid, this little ghost demon entity, was enough to call in the spirits, it really does say a lot that you never know what could truly be at stake. Because I think it would be easy for a show like this to think about the tunnels, right? There's some weird giant monstrosity, spirits coming in to save. Okay, you know what to avoid, right? There's normal people clearly walking, trying to pass on, and then there's these giant Star Wars monsters. We know which ones we need to avoid. But when it's just a normal looking kid who can fake his aura and identity, and that's enough to ward it off, it's hard to say how she's going to survive without those protections. And seriously, I don't think she's going to be able to recharge them, given that, I'm still worried about what the cost of these 3 protections is. Is it her life? Is it obedience for life? Is it a favor? It's hard to say, right? What if the spirits turn out to be worse than, what they're actually protecting from? I think it'd be in her best interest to never use that last one, but for narrative reasons, that probably won't happen. This episode was just and just honestly, the story in general over the past month, I'd say, of this anime has been really good at propelling its main kind of end hook for this season over. Because the idea of keeping the teacher relevant, I think, is a really smart move, rather than introducing someone who tops the frightening aura that we saw in the park a month or so back. Instead, keep him relevant and keep him ominous and saying, I don't know which direction they're going. If they're not going to commit to him being an evil scumbag, why the hell is he being haunted by clearly dead cat spirits? And why is he, similar to the train lady, being haunted by this horrible evil creature? And seriously, why would he have blood on his hands? So everything's pointing to it, but he never can fully commit to any idea, because just look at the kid at the end of the episode. You very much probably are thinking that's a normal kid, But yeah, some sort of spirit will pop up, but it's because you looked at the kid, not that the kid was the spirit. And there has been moments where, like, she's thought ghosts were normal, so I think that's probably another factor. Like, if we remember that one line scene when the ghosts were lining up to be eaten and most likely pass on, she thought that was the food line, and in return we realized that, oh no, that's actually an entire line of ghosts. But this was even frightening, even more so, because she was looking at the kid dead on and it looked completely normal. It's not like a spirit that just had a suit on and the suit wasn't like moldy and maggot filled. It's very easy to understand how she could get lost in thought thinking it was normal, so it's frightening, it definitely is, though to see the number of times she told Hana she loved her, and Hana's probably getting a different idea of what type of love she's meaning, because, you know, Miko she seems a little odd today, but you know what? She's my best friend. I'm gonna love her all the same. But still, it's frightening. It's honestly one of the most unnerving, I think, episodes just for the beginning and the end scene alone. But then the action scene that was both horrifying and badass was just kind of like the icing on the cake, with the reveals of why Yulia and Hana and Miko all have this weird relationship that kind of works all at the same time. I'm really happy about this anime season, from shows like Maruko-chan to just, I mean, even The Great Jahi as an example. It feels like even though they're getting so close to catching up with all the source material that's out there, and despite it being ongoing, you really see a way for them to end it in a satisfying way that should a show like this only get one season, I feel like it's probably going to leave us off with a grin on our face, because should they wrap up whatever's going on with the teacher, or at the very least explain and like put to rest what's going on, that is a good stopping point, as long as someone like Miko at the very least has some form of peace of mind, and most likely that one save will be used and we'll see what goes from there. I mean, with 2 episodes, I think they can definitely leave us off with some more spooks, but also a pretty decent stopping point saying the story for them is far from over, but at the very least we feel like she might be able to survive the oncoming years should we never get another season. And it's great to see a season like this, fall 2021. I mean, it's chock full of great shows, but this is definitely, I think, probably the best, like, straight up horror anime I've seen, because it's really rare to get something that feels like it's actually scary or spooky or unnerving, and they really play the medium to its full potential, because I couldn't see something like this exactly working in like a live action format, because don't get me wrong, like live action CG can be absolutely batshit crazy. Look at Marvel movies, I mean, it's at the time I can't even tell what the hell's real or fake. But when it comes to something like this, with the way they blend the anime-ness with the absolute holy shit that is so disturbing as a drawing, I really appreciate how they utilize this medium to its full potential. And honestly, I still haven't skipped that opening. I love how frantic it is, with it feeling like someone like screaming for their life, and by the time that opening finishes, you just feel like someone just ran a marathon trying to escape the ghouls, and I'm like, it's just such a good opening. I saw mixed opinions with it when I first started covering the show, but I absolutely love that opening. It's one of my favorite this season. But let me know your thoughts as always, though. What do you think is going to happen in the last couple of episodes? Theories and speculations, if you have any. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.